What up, guys? Welcome to the SoundCentric podcast. I'm Samuel Sarfo.
I'm Adam Dash.
Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode. Honestly, it's really crazy that we're about to be in October really soon. Like the end of the year is about to come soon. It's about to be
Yeah,
2024. COVID has really made everything like just flash by my eyes. I don't know about you, but
no, it's insane. It's been so fast. Like the end of the year list coming up soon.
it's coming up soon. You guys stay tuned for that. And I was gonna ask you, we're getting closer to the year. We kind of have an idea of how 2023 is. I don't know how you feel about it. I know for my genres at least, I've loved everything that's come out of it. Hip hop has been a little bit of a stalemate, but who are you
Yeah,
waiting to hear from? Who will basically sum up this year in 2023?
yeah.
Who's about to drop that you really want to hear from?
I'll say first, hip hop wise, and it's not even really hip hop, but
Hmm.
there's only been really one album this year that has stuck with me that like I
Hmm.
replay like genuinely when I'm on a walk or I don't know if it's
Hmm.
downloaded on my phone. It's Jordan Ward. I'm obsessed with the
Yeah,
album.
forward.
I feel like usually at this time there's a lot of albums that I like really love, but like that's the one this year so far. To go into what I want to drop, Drake, October 3rd. Is that the correct date? Does that sound right?
Something like that. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. First week of October, he's dropping. I hope it's great, but I don't know if that's the one I'm most likely am looking forward to.
Hmm.
Smino keeps teasing that he's dropping a mixtape soon. She already decided to, and that's like
Hmm.
one of my goats. Love him. JID and Metro Boomin. That could be this year. Not positive. That's gonna be sick. Cole, actually, Ebe tweeted something yesterday. Ebe
Hmm.
tweeted like, he tweeted a J. Cole lyric that mentioned the fall off. So I don't know, maybe they're cooking up. I doubt it drops before the year end, but
Hmm.
that's obviously my goat. So we're waiting patiently. How about you?
Waiting patiently. I hope he waits till 2024 to make that decision to start the year right. No one else is dropping. He doesn't have to worry about Drake or anything. So I feel like that would be the perfect time for him to drop in 2024.
Yeah.
For me, the albums that have stuck with me are, if I had to pick one, because you picked one, I'll pick one. The Boy Genius. Let me pick two. Sorry, Paramore and Boy Genius. Those two
Paramore?
albums have
Okay.
been in my rotation, and those are probably one of my favorite projects that I've dropped so far this year. In terms of who I'm excited for, I think it should be clear. Everyone should know it's Doja Cat. She is the most, I will say she's the most talented artist right now in the pop and hip hop landscape. That whole mesh. She can do everything. She can sing, she can rap, she can do pop, Afro beats, literally everything. She is so
Got my
talented, and I
demons
cannot
up.
wait. She got her demons up, and I cannot wait to hear her album that drops this week, actually, on Friday. And then also Drake is dropping October 6th, so a little bit right after that. So we're going to be treated very well for the end of the year.
Yeah. What's your opinion on, because she is a pop artist, she's a rap pop
Hmm.
artist. What's your
Hmm.
opinion on the track list? Like the way that they sequence it?
Hmm.
Because Paint the Town Red is an amazing song. It's really good.
Hmm.
It's really catchy. I keep singing it around in my house, but it
Hmm.
doesn't feel like an intro to an album. It just
Yeah.
feels like one of those songs that's a really hit song. You put it like somewhere throughout your album. Maybe there's a slow song you go right after it, so like it brings it back up. But like the track listing is kind of weird that you have that song then Demon second. It's a pretty
Hmm.
like just right in the middle of the album, like right away.
No, you said that perfectly, and that's one of the main issues. When she dropped her 4 singles, all of them are great, by the way. Paint the Town Red, like you said, isn't really an intro song. And there's always a big risk when you're releasing singles that one of your singles is your first track because they already know what to expect already going into it.
Mhm.
And for me as an artist, I would never want to do that. But there's also
Yeah.
really great examples like Arctic Monkeys dropped The Car in late 2022, and their first song, If There'd Be a Mirror Ball, is an intro song, and it's incredible.
Mhm.
It's literally 5 minutes, something what you would low-key expect from an intro song. But like I told you before, man, the music landscape is changing. Who cares about an intro if
Yeah.
it's not bringing in the bread, right? Paint the Town Red is a slapper. They're putting that on the first song as a hit.
Yeah.
That song is going to get a lot of streams.
But
So that's just the game that
I
has to be played.
I feel like I'd say for one, she's gonna get her streams no matter what. So like, does it really matter? And naturally,
True.
since I've heard the first two songs of the album, I'm not gonna re-listen to them when I start to listen to the
Mm,
album. Like I'm gonna skip to
that's another
track three.
issue. Hmm.
So I don't know. I'm a Even if you're not big on actually making a whole body of work album, I still feel like you have to drop a song that has an intro feel. Even Drake, like Certified Lover Boy, it starts with that like I love you, I love
Hmm.
you, I love you. What an like that's
Yeah.
just sounds like an intro to a album called Certified Lover Boy.
Yeah.
So even the guy who's the king of making playlist albums gets the understanding. Like let's give it a feel to it.
No, that's a fair
Easily.
criticism. But I feel like Paint the Town Red, it has that like the Walk On By sample, so it has that little
Mhm.
bit of you're like, yeah, it's okay. But I feel like it gives you a little bit of I don't know, a
Walk
certain
on
vibe or entry to
by.
the album, right? So either way, the
Nah,
album's gonna slap regardless. I'm trusting Doja. I know she's gonna come out with a really amazing album. It's not gonna be influenced by pop or label. She said that. We've heard the singles so far. They're really unique. And
but they're
even her
but they're
rollout.
influenced by pop and label.
Yeah, but she is a to me, she is a pop artist. She just and pop like, what is
Yeah,
pop, right? When you say pop music, it's just popular
you make
music,
popular
right?
music, yeah.
Exactly. But have you seen her rollout with, I don't even know how you would call them, but they're
Like the
just woman
wax
in the
figures?
wax figures. Yeah, she's been
Yeah, it's
placing them in
cool.
different states. It's really cool. If you guys don't know what's been going on, sh basically, like with Drake doing the billboards in different states, she's been doing her wax figures, basically like
Yeah,
women
I've heard
covered in
Bloody.
blood, black hair,
Yeah,
exactly, and just placing them in different areas around the state, and that's how you do a rollout, man. Rollouts aren't a big
it's
thing.
sick.
I know Tyler was very serious and critical over them, but Doja, she's doing it right. Her VMA performance, I know you saw that. That was incredible, man.
Fire.
That made me fall in love with Demons, but I really think Doja's gonna drop
Come on,
probably one
demons.
of the
Oh,
best albums of the year, and I think you said Drake's probably gonna be the highest seller of the year. I think Doja has something to say.
yeah, hey, we'll see.
Mhm,
I'm not gonna they're both gonna do well. I don't know who's gonna get
mhm.
higher. I feel like it'd be Drake. But the
Okay.
rollouts, I'm a sucker for sick rollouts, and sometimes
Mhm,
artists are too cool for them now. But Offset's been doing this rollout for a minute, and it's fun to see Offset like get really into it. Like he went on
mhm,
Kai Cenat, the streamer. He was
mhm,
on ESPN during the Colorado State game. So he's doing great with that. Teezo Touchdown, although I did not love the album. We'll talk about that more.
mhm,
I It's really cool. He did a whole Post-it note thing. He'd like that was his theme for the album. He threw up a giant one in New York City for his listening
mhm.
party. So yeah, I love a good rollout.
And that Offset cover too, have you seen it yet?
I'm not sure if I saw the cover. Is it cool?
It's amazing. It's basically him, basically,
Fire.
I don't know, falling from the sky, and there's like a bomb
Maybe I saw.
underneath him, and it's really, really cool.
I really like Offset 54321, which I don't know if that will be on
Mhm.
the album, but it was produced by Baby Keem. Obsessed with that song. Like in the gym,
Yeah,
big fan.
and that's another thing I'm kind of scared of because everything's on streaming. I thought that's definitely taken a hit on album covers, right? Because before, when you would have to release them through CD or whatever, you'd have the physical copies, you'd open the CD, you'd get the booklet and see all the photos.
Mhm.
But now there's no front and back. With streaming, it's just one image. And I guess now they
Yeah.
added that like glossy effect where you can now see like the visual movement of the
Yeah.
album for some, but I don't know.
I mean, album art will always be so important no matter how big
Hmm.
you are as an artist. Some people obviously can get by with a bad cover because it's like, oh, it's Drake. Like, we're listening to this no matter what. Or
Hmm.
Kanye, it's just a black album. Like, we're listening to it. But especially as an independent artist or just any artist in general, that can decide. I've seen like YouTube type beats that just have a cool cover. And I'm like, okay, I'll listen to that beat, even though it's the
Hmm.
same Mac Miller type beat I see every single day. Like, it's
Yeah,
so important to like, just
it
make
is.
you curious whatsoever.
Yeah. And before we dive in here, we will get to our playlist titles. I just you haven't heard Balut yet, and that was Doja Cat's latest
It's good.
single. I'm telling you, when you hear that, you're gonna scrap your answer, be like, no, I'm gonna pick Doja. That's what I'm most excited for. If I'm gonna
I'm
give you
down.
a little teaser, bro, Alchemist wasn't the one who produced it, but it was an Alchemist type beat, and
Okay.
she's doing her thing on it.
Yeah.
So
I t
Doja is coming.
I texted you because I was on a walk and I was listening to Kiss
Mm,
Me More. Obviously,
mhm,
like, I'm a big hater of mall radio type music, like
mhm.
retail music. It's a really good song.
Yeah,
Like,
it
it's
is.
just great, and, we were talking about this before, but her voice is just so, like, sexual, but I
Mhm,
don't mean that in a sexual way, but, like,
mhm.
just the way she raps and talks like this, like, it's a really good rap voice. It's really good.
Yeah, and it's authentic. It's like I don't know anyone who kind of sounds like her, so I think that's why her style
Yeah,
is so good. But before we
yeah.
dive in, you know the drill. Adam, what's your playlist title and leading single for this week?
Yeah, we're gonna do a shameless plug because 'cause
Mhm,
I'm dropping my first song in
mhm,
over 2
mhm,
years, finally, and it's called "Time Is Up," and it is about the theme of not knowing if I wanna continue down a certain path and feeling like some people might say, "Time is up, find something different," but fuck that, we still on
mhm,
this. I made this song last August, and I've released songs in the past where I look back on it and I released it too quickly. I've had this song for over a year and I still think it's good, so I don't think that'll change mentally, which I'm happy about.
Mhm.
and that's kinda where we're at. Hyped to
Yeah.
finally release music. I need that little
Yes,
accomplishment.
sir. Y'all need to tune in for his, music video, it's really dope. I won't say nothing. I'll let the
Yeah.
fans go and get that for themselves, but dude, the fact you had 2 videos, well edited, like,
Yeah,
kudos
shout
to
out
you,
my
man.
guy, Adam Kirshenblatt from Ohio
Let's
State.
go. For me, my playlist title is gonna be called Silences Between Songs, and that's only because
Deep.
Madison Beer dropped her album this past Friday, and I really like her. She's seriously
Good.
talented. She's been part of the industry for a long time, but now she's breaking through because she's finally, I guess, ready to, and also the support of the label.
Yeah.
Really dope album. Excited to hear. And you know how again, like I hate when you join a label and basically they tell you what to make. I feel like her career has kind of been like that until now. She's dropping an album that's truly herself.
Mhm.
For a single, man, I really don't know. Caught me a little bit off guard, but I'm just
Bitch,
gonna
I
say
said
"Lazy
what I
Song" by
said.
Bruno Mars. I feel like I might have already
Yeah.
used that before, but, I feel like I'm right now I'm just kinda chilling a little bit, but I also need to
Yeah.
get my schedule right. I need to get my adulting right and all that stuff, but "Lazy Song"
Sam
for
got
Bruno
into
for sure.
Sam got into PA school. Round of applause.
Hey.
Virtual round of applause.
So I'm just trying to get my life together essentially, get my routine and all that stuff
Yeah.
going. Yeah. But where do you wanna dive first? Do you wanna go into Drake or do you wanna go into Nas?
Let's go Nas, 'cause I think that's interesting.
Okay, you go
So,
ahead, you lead it.
hey, Nas dropped Magic 3. I think this is the 6th album he has released in the last 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. So it went King's
Mhm,
Disease 1, King's Disease 2, Magic,
mhm.
King's Disease 3, Magic 2, Magic 3, all produced
Sounds
by Hit
right.
Boy. So a
Mhm,
lot of different topics. I think I can dive into this. I will say first, you won't agree with this opinion, but it's fine.
mhm,
I think Magic. I'm not gonna say I think. For me, Magic is my second favorite album by him ever. I
mhm,
think, and this is a debate all the time. I don't think not everyone says Eminem picks like really bad beats.
mhm.
I don't think Nas picks very good beats. They
M'kay.
just don't do it for me. And for some reason, Hit Boy, not for some reason, because he's talented, but Magic has some hard ass hitting beats and
Mhm,
hard drums. And this new album, it sounds very boring to me up until
mhm,
halfway through when I finally hear like drums that are hard. And there's a couple different points I wanna make on this album, but first, there's only one feature on it, which is great.
mhm,
Lil Wayne fucking murders that.
mhm.
He's so good at just sticking to one rhyme scheme, and he never runs out of things to say. It is literally insane. But I wanna ask you, because I think certain artists have the skill set to do a whole album by themselves. Usually that requires you to be able to sing and rap, and Nas is not a singer. So
Mhm.
the content for me at this time in his career gets a little boring. It's not like other artists who I listen to where I'm word for word picking up and loving what everything they're saying. So who do you think are artists that are able to drop without a feature on the album?
Yeah, of course you're thinking of one man, right? The guy who's kind of notorious for it, J. Cole. But I feel
Jermaine.
like overall, right? Again, I'm always gonna say streaming. I'm sorry, guys, but I feel like streaming is like the cause of most of this, and just the way music is delivered. It's very hard. I mean, artists still do it though. They drop albums without features, but it's very difficult to grab people's attention spans when it's just you. And it can be just you, but you need to be able to be flexible, be able to adapt to different sounds, and just have a diverse array of sounds on your project. Magic with Nas, I feel like is a little bit skewed. Why? Because he literally dropped what 6 projects in how many years? And
Yeah.
that's my issue to begin with. I'm very happy Nas is dropping. There's no limit to how much you can drop, but the more you drop, the less exciting the anticipation and all that
Yeah.
stuff it is. Mhm,
It's like the content is just the same on all the
mhm,
albums for the most
mhm,
part. So it's not like, say, Jay-Z waits 5 years to drop and he has this huge
mhm,
infidelity thing. It's like, what does
yeah,
Jay-Z have to say about this whole big thing that happened? And
mhm,
he talks about it beautifully. But if Jay-Z a year later came out with another album about cheating and then came out with another album about cheating, it'd be like,
mhm.
it's it's too much. I don't really care anymore. So not this so it's just like it was so cool hearing Nas on
Mhm,
Magic, especially because it's a short album, 30 minutes. You have the ASAP Rocky feature, which he kills it
mhm,
too. But like that, it was just more digestible to me than an hour-long album of just him
mhm,
with Will Wayne in the middle. Just didn't do it
yeah.
for me.
And it's hard to do that, especially as a rapper. When you're just gonna rap the whole time, you need to have a lot of different production choices. And when you're just sticking with one producer, obviously Hit Boy's amazing, but you've been sticking with him for 6 albums. There's only so many different types of songs you could possibly make with that. And like I
Yeah,
said, you're not whack for saying Magic is for you your second favorite Nas album. I'm assuming Illmatic is the first one.
yeah,
Magic was and is incredible. When I first heard it, when I first saw the cover art, I said, Nas is about to snap. A lot of people have been talking bad about Nas. They've
It's
been making fun
cold,
of his beat selection, like
cold
you
cover.
said, but it is absolutely cold as an album. But then for you to continue to release and just, I don't know, saturate. I don't wanna tell Nas, right, you can't drop. I feel like for
Yeah, no,
any
it's
artist,
fun.
it can
Go
be
for it.
way too much. So what, and I know you want your artist to drop often. So what is a good amount for good amount of drops for album for artists to make, and what's too little?
Um, I guess it's depending on the artist and like what
Mhm,
if something big happens in your life. So if you're an artist, you make an
mhm,
album, and then a year later you have a kid, and you want to come out with an album about that, like that's really interesting, even though it's a year apart, because we know
mhm,
something big happened in your life, and it's like, what does this artist have to say about parenthood or something? So I don't know. I guess it's dependent on the artist. Obviously, a year break, you gotta leave them wanting you. I saw a Drake clip yesterday where he's talking about how it's the beginning of his career, like 2008, and he was saying how he wants to make some albums and dip away because you want the people to desire what you have to say. You don't want to oversaturate because like we don't really care what you have to say anymore.
mhm.
And to my original question of what artists that can make albums by themselves, I have a small list. J.
Okay.
Cole. I think basically you have to be able to rap and sing. You got to change it
Mhm.
up. I can't sing, so that sucks. Probably have to get a feature in there. But Kendrick, the voices, he can do a whole album alone. I think JID could do an album alone. I think he's
Mhm.
very interesting enough to keep me on my seat. Doja Cat, a lot of the female rappers who can sing
Yep.
can do a whole album. Like she definitely could do a
Mhm.
whole album alone. Mac Miller can do a
Mhm.
whole album alone. I had more
Rest
to
in
my
peace.
list. Who was it?
Yeah.
Rest in peace. But he can do a whole album by himself. He's
Mhm.
so, and I'm a big fan of singers who aren't exactly good singers that
Mhm.
have like that raspiness to it. And that's Mac. Like he's not a
Yeah.
particularly great clean singer, but
Mhm.
he can do that. Do you have anyone
Hot
else to
take
that
I
list?
was gonna say hot take for you. Do you think Drake can? There you
If
go.
he
Yep.
fo if he's focused, yes, but
Mhm.
kinda similar to Nas, his content isn't interesting enough to me,
Mhm.
where it seems like it's the same content every time. So, like, he can in general. He's definitely
Mhm.
talented enough to do a whole album by himself, but he'd have to start saying some things that are
Yeah.
different than just, like, naming women. He's always naming girls who are like, "Who the fuck is that?" He's like talking to
Mhm.
Amaya and Alicia. And it's like, "Who's
Mhm.
Maya and Alicia?" You know what I mean? But I don't he can in general, yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, he gave you a chance, right? We can move into Drake now. He dropped, what was it, Slime? Is that it's called? Slime for You?
Slime for yeah.
Slime for You. Quick backstory, if you didn't know, that image of Halle Berry being slimed at the Nickelodeon Choice Awards. Basically, Drake asked beforehand if he could use the photo as Halle Berry. She declined, but he used it anyways. But if you notice on the streaming, I think that's been either taken down or he never uploaded it. Instead,
Oh,
use
really?
the drawing that his, I don't know what's on yours, because on mine it's just a drawing of his son,
No, you
where
I
he
think
drew
you're
the
right,
dog.
actually.
Yeah,
Oh, 'cause it's yeah, it's
yeah.
the album.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, he's kinda fucked for that 'cause he
Mm-hmm.
was using it in a sexual way, and if she's like, "I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you using that,"
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have posted it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the legal how that works legally.
But the thing is, Halle didn't own it. It was a company who owned it. So as long as he pays the
Yeah.
company, then whatever Halle has to say doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
So she was
but
mad and she responded. She commented on like a different type of post I talked about, and she said, "I don't know why he asked me if you're just gonna use it anyways, right?"
yeah, not the
Mm-hmm.
coolest move by Drake.
Mm-hmm.
To get into it about the song,
Mm-hmm.
first part, it's just he's in general, Drake's a good singer, but,
Mm-hmm.
like, he's not singing about anything particularly that, like,
Mm-hmm.
gets to me and interested me,
Mm-hmm.
and the flow of it wasn't really my thing. SZA
Mm-hmm.
is just so fucking good. So to
Mm-hmm.
talk about singers, I listen to SZA albums like the way I listen to rap albums. Like, she has such a interesting personality and
Mm-hmm.
the way she talks, and she's such a interesting voice, like, the way she says love is like, "Yeah," like, you know what I mean? Like, she has
I
such
don't know
a
if it sounds like that, bro.
not like that, but it's like Leah, like, she has such an intriguing voice because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what accent she has because she's from New
Mm-hmm.
Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
but she's great, and
Mm-hmm.
I texted you, but I was listening to Control the other day, and she's,
Mm-hmm.
like, just as interesting as I find a rapper, like, listening to her
Mm-hmm.
lyrics. She's just really and her she just picks the perfect melodies, so her part's
Mm-hmm.
great. She always
Yeah.
kills it. Second part is a classic Drake thing where he's, like, sticking to the month of the calendar, which is a very
Mm-hmm.
classic Drake, which is it's cool. but the song itself, eh, fine.
Okay. It's kind of funny because this song has been really polarizing. Even when you look through Twitter, I've had there's people who really like it because Drake beforehand said that he wanted to make an album, right? Going back to his roots. He said, You missed the old Drake. I'm going to give you the old Drake, which I doubt because as an artist, I mean, old Drake is so long. What was old Drake? 2011 is
I
2023,
don't
2024 now. It's not going to
I
happen,
don't
right?
I don't even know what old Drake means because he
Hmm.
raps about the same subject matter and still
Hmm.
does all the different styles of music. So, like,
Hmm.
what's oh, he's still rapping about women and singing about women.
But I feel like it's the way he goes about it, right? A song like Marvin's Room compared to like, I don't know, the song with Dirk or whatever it was on CLB.
I like
I
that
feel like
song
there's a
actually.
huge difference. Like Drake had a lot to say and it was really just vivid, like whatever he was talking about. And his writing
Yeah.
was great. There was no sense of laziness. But of course, when you're at the top for a while, that can be easy to do when you know you can just make a hit in 2 seconds by dropping whatever, you know?
Hey,
And I don't
maybe
wanna uh-huh.
I'll say maybe he's at the level of fame where at the beginning he wasn't like that famous, so he could still have like
Mhm,
real relationships. And maybe he
mhm,
just doesn't have real relationships anymore to like actually be
mhm.
inspired to write about a real thing.
Yeah,
That's
and
just
that's a
guessing, but
double-edged sort of fame, you know? In terms of the song, I don't wanna speak too much about it because I feel like I didn't give it the time it deserves. When I was talking about the
yeah.
polarization on Twitter, it's literally people like it and people hate it. For you, I know you don't hate it, but you really don't mess with it at all. Just speak from your chest. You don't like the song, period.
Yeah, like
Right?
I didn't
Mhm,
replay it. Like there's certain
mhm,
songs that you know from the get-go, it sticks
mhm,
with you and you wanna keep playing it. Some
mhm,
songs, you listen to it a different time period and you're like,
mhm.
amazing. Like I didn't give the
Yeah,
respects. Maybe it turns into one of those songs. But from Drake and SZA, I wanted that feeling of this is a hit.
yeah,
And
yeah.
didn't get that, but hey, who knows? It seems
That
like a
was
soft hit. Doesn't seem like it's
mhm.
popping off.
That was my initial thoughts when I first heard it, right? I heard it, and obviously it's Drake and SZA, so the expectations are so high. I heard it, and I'm like, okay, I like it's cool, but I'm trying to figure out if I'm missing anything. And I go on Twitter, and I see some people are saying, "Oh, I love it, it's great. This is what I expect," and I'm like, did I miss something here? So I
Yeah,
want to give it time to really digest because I know how easy it is for us to just press a button, we hear the song, and we just
yeah,
call it mid. I don't want to do that. I actually want to
yeah,
give it the time it deserves. And it's Drake and SZA, man. Come on.
yeah.
It's
In
Drake and
no
SZA.
in no way at all is it a
Mhm.
bad song. It
Yeah.
just, like, didn't excite me like I wanted a Drake
Mhm.
and SZA song to be,
Yeah.
and that happens. We've had a lot of recent disappointments of huge collabs.
Mhm.
One that I didn't write down, but I just thought of as I was saying this.
Mhm.
This is, like, such a low-key song. Cardi
Mhm.
B dropped a song with Kanye and Dirk, if you
Oh,
remember
yeah,
that.
I forget he was in Hot Shit?
It's like it's like her in a car with sunglasses on.
Yeah, her
I
in the
think it might
car.
be
I
called
think it's called Hot Shit.
Woo, did that song not hit whatsoever and pass really fucking quickly. I
It
feel like
did.
no
Mhm.
one that song was not big. Recently, we'll see what the song turns into, but Cardi and Meg dropped Bongos,
Mhm.
which I mean, I think Cardi, she's killed every feature recently. So, like, I was excited for her album because she hasn't dropped in 5 years.
Mhm.
The song wasn't made for me whatsoever,
Mhm.
obviously, but it wasn't, like it wasn't very good for Cardi and Meg,
Yeah.
like, that's her first single in a while. What do
Mhm.
you think of that song?
So like you said, this is exciting, right? Because Cardi's finally coming back. It's been wow, you said 5 years? It has been 5 years. And I feel like there's only a rare breed of artists who can do such a thing, and that is Cardi B. Because she's such a
Yeah,
personality, because she's
yeah.
so huge, she can take a break. And she's still been having that feature run where she's been, low-key killing it. The song Bongos. Let me say it some praise first. First off, if you didn't know, the music video they shot, Cardi B said, I think it was an interview with Angela Yee. She said that she spent $2 million for her music video, for Bongos.
Sheesh.
And it's crazy because sometimes you interact with independent artists, and this is a lot of complaints that producers will say, or creators like photographers and videographers will say. Independent artists aren't serious because they don't want to invest in their music. They don't invest in a video. They don't want to
That's
pay
wild.
500. Well, Cardi B's paying 2 million. You know what Russ spent for his rollout for his project as independent artist? Millions, millions, millions. So just as a heads up, just for independent artists, don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Go forward and do what you have to do, and don't be scared to let people hear your work. In terms of the song now, like you said, you're trying to be a little bit liberal, right? Like, it wasn't for me.
It's not for me.
Um, this was a targeted idea, right? Let's hook Cardi and Megan up again because they had success with it before with WAP, and let's see how it does. But you just can't lightning doesn't strike twice. You hit it once, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it breathe and find something else to do. Honestly, Cardi B could have dropped a separate single by herself and it would have been fire. Like she
Yeah,
dropped Up so long ago, right? And that was
yeah,
supposed to be the single, but then they delayed the album again. Up was a slapper. I liked Up. If it's Up, then it's stuck. That's a
yeah.
slapper.
Hey,
This bongo
she
song, I
stole
wasn't
that
feeling
line
it.
she stole that line from my guy, Mir Fontaine, if you remember.
Allegedly, wink, wink.
Allegedly. Yeah, the song just doesn't have a catchy chorus, like, obviously, this content
Mhm,
is not
mhm,
made for me, but, like, for WAP, like,
mhm,
objectively, even though I'm not
mhm,
bumping it, like,
mhm,
it's a catchy chorus,
mhm.
even though I'm
Yeah.
not listening to it. I just
Mhm,
feel like this one wasn't catchy at all,
mhm,
and her feature run is so good that she has me listening
yeah.
to music that is not made for
Mhm,
me, and I'm like,
mhm,
it's good, like, the one with, what's her name? Oh, I'm blank Lotto, like, it's like a fire verse, it's really good, and her s
mhm.
what was the other verse she had? She had a song with Glorilla,
Yeah, she
like,
had a lot.
she's a really good personality, and I think what
Mhm,
she says is intriguing,
mhm.
and this one was just disappointing. I didn't like it that much.
Let me ask you this, if Cardi B was to drop this year, do you think she would outsell Drake?
Depends on the singles. I'm gonna say
Okay.
no, but especially, like, this one doesn't s I don't know how it's
Yeah.
not number 1 because I think Drake and SZA are going number 1, so we'll
Mhm,
see, and then there was recently some other kind of letdowns. I'm not even sure like, I didn't really listen to the song, so I'm not gonna give an
mhm,
opinion really, but Offset and Cardi dropped "Jealousy," which there was, like, a whole cheating scandal, and I wonder
mhm.
now, was that a rollout for this? If it
Basically,
was,
right, you
that's
said it was Offset and Cardi, right?
yeah, if it was, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
It was
I feel
hilarious, and
like
their music video was funny too. Yeah, it was all planned. I don't know about their situation, if it was real or not, but they capitalized on that, and they
yeah,
basically made a song
it
about
was
it, so
smart, but
mhm,
one of the other letdowns recently was it's Drake and Travis, and
mhm,
we're gonna get more into Travis, but I liked the song when it first came out, but
mhm.
I have not listened to it once since it
We're talking
dropped.
about Meltdown, correct?
Meltdown, and
Okay, so I'm gonna
I
ask you
haven't
this.
yeah, ask me.
How many times have you gone back to Utopia, or do you still go back to Utopia at all?
I do not.
Arrest that man!
I
Yeah,
d
okay, it's fair, it's fair. Me neither,
I
truthfully.
I was saying before, like, Jordan Word, like, that's an album that
Mhm,
if I, like, lose battery if I lose, like, connection, like, it's
mhm,
downloaded, like, I go to that album.
mhm,
I have not gone to the album. I Know is the only song that stuck with
mhm,
me,
mhm.
sadly,
Yeah.
and there it is not a bad album, and there are good
Mhm,
songs on it, but nothing stuck with me,
mhm,
and Sicko Mode, like, I still listen to it, even though it's a kind of a joke now, it's a
mhm.
really good song. Like,
Yeah.
it gets you going. It's a really good
Mhm,
song, and
mhm,
this one, even though it's not a bad verse by either of them, it just
mhm,
I think flopped in terms of what you expected their
mhm.
collab to be.
Yeah. Like I said
SCEP56.
like I said, lightning doesn't strike twice. I don't know why people try to do this. Even when you look at TV shows and movies trying to make reboots and things like that. Would you stop? Just just be creative
Yeah,
and come up with something else. Why like Sicko Mode, Travis, was so humongous. You're not getting nowhere near that. If you try, it will be a flop, regardless of
yeah.
what you do. Because that song was
I
so
th
big.
I think maybe it's because this song kind of feels like 2 different songs and they recorded
Mhm,
it, like, so separately versus Sicko Mode, obviously, at first, the beat change, like, that's a separate
mhm,
song, but then when
mhm,
you get to, like, the 3rd beat change, like, Out Like a Light, like, they're going back
mhm.
and forth, and it actually
Yep.
feels like they're in a studio together and it made it together.
Mhm,
I think it's just that feel, like, this song feels like he sent Drake a beat and Drake did his thing, and it's
mhm.
just 2 separate songs that
Yeah.
are Drake and Travis.
Completely understandable. And we'll get into this conversation another time in another episode. But it's kind of like I said before Adam doesn't believe me, guys. But hey, Vince Staples and a lot of people in the industry believe this. I think music is dying. It's becoming a very easy, digestible commodity now. You know, I mean, albums are coming and going. Music is coming and going. Basically, music now is content. That's why I'm not even mad about Nas dropping so much. He needs to get his bag. I mean, what? He's going to drop an Illmatic in 2023, 2024. Making a classic album now is probably near impossible. It's really difficult to. So you
It
might as well
is.
drop your project, get your bag, and move on with your life.
And this is a very controversial opinion that people
Hmm.
debate over. But some of these artists, you have access to
Hmm.
every great producer in the world. And some of these guys just pick not great beats.
Hmm.
And I know people say this all the time, and I'm a big fan of it. Like,
Hmm.
Nas, can you just work with DJ Premier? I swear to God, every beat I hear from DJ Premier
Hmm.
is amazing.
Hmm.
Every random Lucy he releases with like there's
hmm
a song with West Side Gun and Rome Streets that
hmm
came out. Can someone just work with him?
Mhm.
Come on. Give me
But
my
that's
primo
easier
respect.
said than done, right? I was listening to this, like it's like a YouTube video compilation of Eminem during the relapse era and all the interviews and promotions he did. And it was his first time going back to Dre, I'll say. Well, after Encore, he was been straying a little bit more from Dre. And on Relapse, it was completely Dre, all Dre beats. But as
Yeah.
an artist, and even you know this too, when you're making music, when you've already done something, mentally it's hard to do that again. He's already
Yeah.
worked with Primo, right, for so long for him to go back and be like, "Let me just make a Primo song." I know it's hard, like,
Yeah.
then why am I dropping music? I already have that beforehand, and I wanna come up with something new and
Yeah.
refreshing. Although he's worked
No,
with
you're right.
Hit Boy 6 times, right? But
Yeah.
even with M, he strayed away from Dre, and you hear all the M fans, including me, saying, work with Dre," but how many times does he have to
Yeah.
keep working with Dre, you know?
No, that's definitely that's the
Mhm.
smart opinion on that situation. I'm just saying as a fan, like, just work with Premiere. Uh,
Who cares? Work
but
with Primo.
yeah, just work with Premiere.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, some of these artists, they just don't pick the best beats, and we'll talk about this in a different episode because I really wanna
Mhm,
dive into it. Because
mhm,
I love when artists work with one producer and it's made some
mhm,
amazing albums, but
mhm.
sometimes it doesn't have the best effect,
Yeah.
and to that point about M, it's interesting because M is criticized for not having the best beats. But the
Mhm.
beginning of his career, his albums are filled with incredible beats,
Yeah.
and he used to make great beats.
Mhm. So what does that
Like,
tell you? Right? If
so
right,
what
you just laid out a math equation, right? And that math equation is supposed to equal success, but it doesn't. So what's the issue then?
but, I mean, recently you hear, like,
Mhm,
these other M albums.
mhm,
He's rapping over trap beats, like, okay, cool,
mhm,
he's trying a new
mhm,
style, I get it. But the beats just aren't interesting, and
mhm,
you're Eminem, they'll send you the best beats. Just I feel like they send them one beat and they make the
mhm.
song versus they get, like, a choice and to hear all of them.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. Like,
And
Jay-Z on
yeah.
444, the
Mhm,
beats, woo,
mhm.
amazing.
I agree. You're right, but I think Jay-Z didn't drop in whatever, 5 years, and then he dropped 444 and hasn't dropped or said a word or done anything music related since.
Yeah,
Alright?
no,
That's gonna be a little bit of a skewed factor. And with Eminem, at least, you just said that he has everything at his disposal. Even him himself is an amazing producer. He's the one who
yeah,
produced Renegade and all these great tracks, right? Even had his hands on Many Men for 50 Cent. So that means he could make. I hate when people hear an album by an artist, just one album, they don't like it, or it may not be good, then they take as a conclusion that artist sucks or the artist is washed. That's not the case. They're trying something new. They're trying to do something different. And sometimes you have to step out of your comfort zone. People don't even realize Eminem, we all know this, but Eminem had a drug situation. It was really a problem. He even said that later in his career in an interview, he has tinnitus. He heard buzzing in his
I
ears.
didn't know
So
that.
that affected the way
Yeah,
he heard and writing the beat. That affected that. Even taking a break, going to rehab, coming back, you gotta learn how to redo everything again. And he's what,
yeah,
50? It's like these expectations we hold for artists, right? And I'm not even trying to go at you
yeah.
either.
No, you're
You as a
right.
fan, you're fair, but like sometimes we really don't see artists as human beings. And I find that's so important to, emphasize if I didn't do that already.
That was good. But artists, call up DJ Premier. Call up Ian Schwartzman, his manager. Get
Facts.
the beat.
If out of all that rambling, just call DJ Premier, he'll
Oh
set you
my.
right. But let's end this with your boy Teezo. He's been, I think you talked about it earlier. He was having a lot of just ads and marketing on your TL. For me,
Is
it's
this
just now
good?
starting to happen. He's been everywhere for me on YouTube, on my Twitter. He's been popping out. I think just because he dropped his album.
Yeah,
I still haven't heard it yet. But you talk about more about Teezo because I don't really know him that much apart from what he did
yeah.
with Travis on the Utopia
Um,
song.
I love the creativity of everything he did in his rollout. I like what he's trying to do. I'm not gonna be too hard on this, but his album just was not for me,
Hmm.
and I think it's hard when you get the craziest of crazy cosigns. Drake is
Hmm.
the number 1 cosign you can get in the world,
Hmm.
literally number 1,
Yeah.
and 2nd best could be Travis Scott, and you're on his album. 3rd best could be Tyler, the Creator, and you went on tour with him already, and you're on his album. It's insane, and I'm really surprised that Drake said this is the best body of work he's heard in years,
Hmm.
and truthfully, I can't imagine just from the taste of the music Drake makes, I can't imagine I can't imagine he thinks it's the best body of work. That being
Yeah.
said, it just didn't do it for me. People love it. Happy for him, he's creative. It's really cool, but yeah, it's
Okay.
not for me.
What else I was about to look up was just to see how much he sold first week sales. I think somebody just said maybe around 10,000 is the estimated. And the reason I say that because I haven't heard his music before. Like I've never heard his music before, so I have no idea what he sounds like. But just by his appearance, it might have like
Interesting.
rock influence rap. I don't know. What's his
It's
music sound like?
he's been so I saw an interview, he's calling it, boom the RM something it's a combination of boom bap and R&B.
Mhm.
It's it's all over the place. It's every song is there's no, like, vibe to this album. It is
Mm.
everywhere, which is really cool for some people, and I like the subgenre of rock rap. Kenny Mason, Paris, Texas, love him. It it's just a little bit it's cringy for me when I listen
Mhm.
to it. Could be different for other listeners, but
Yeah.
it's not it.
I will say definitely his personality, right? If you wanna sell records, you wanna get attention, that definitely does
Huge
the job.
personality.
I will say he's a really good guy. I was watching his interview, with Zane Lowe, and he's, like, well spoken, he
Seems
knows what
awesome,
he's
yeah.
doing, he knows same thing with Ice Spice. I know there's been a lot of people have been dissing Ice Spice, not dissing per se, but more so just underestimating her, low-key just disrespecting her as an artist as a whole, but she's a marketing genius. Similar with Lil Nas X, similar with Teezo, they know what to do to get into these places, and of course, people are hating on them saying they're not that good, right? You're overrated, you shouldn't be in the spaces, but it takes a little bit of effort and knowledge of just understanding the music business and how it works.
Yeah. Shout out Rob Markman, who is her
Mhm.
manager, I think. Yeah.
Who?
I think Rob Markman discovered her. I think
Ice
she's on the
Spice?
same I think she's on the same thing that Win is on, that I think she
Mhm.
might have genius distribution, or at least
Mm.
Rob Markman is in some way managing or
Mhm.
helping her. Because 'Cause I've
Yeah.
seen him, like, talk about it. Because I think was Munch was released on Worldstar, which I
Mhm.
think Rob Markman helped. Shout out to him.
Man.
Yeah,
Shout out to
she's
Rob.
great.
Yeah.
It's cool seeing artists that, like I think she's my age or your age.
Mhm.
It's just
It's
sick.
crazy, huh?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I say that's one thing too about the music industry now. A lot of young artists are making it compared to just random older artists like it used to be back then. But hey, I like Ice Spice. I think she's really cool. She's calculated, and people can stop the hate. Hip hop isn't
Yeah.
necessarily dead per se. There's still a lot of great music.
It ain't.
You guys let us know. You guys let us know what you guys think.
Yeah.
Adam, what were you about to say?
Nah. It ain't dead.
It ain't,
We
it
out.
ain't dead.
We out.
We'll see. We'll see. But you guys let us know what you think in the comments, and make sure you like and subscribe and tune into the next episode. But we'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.